This meeting is being recorded.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at in the US and around the world. Welcome to Baseball Outside the Box. The show loves to interview baseball's best coaching minds who love the challenge, the status quo. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm your host, Pete Caliendo, and we are back again with another show, and we got a great one for you. Before we start, a couple of announcements. One, tax season, humbug, right? But we all have to pay our taxes. It's just that work, the pressure to put it all together, man. That's not easy. And I was not thrilled. I had some food poisoning for a couple of weeks. Had to take care of that. Not fun, but hopefully it wasn't anything more serious. Could always get rid of food poisoning. Just was hoping that did not go any further than that. Hope everybody's doing well in the U.S. around the world. We're going to talk World Baseball Classic. Before we do, special thanks to SIS Ltd, our special Japanese friends. 25 years I've known them. The IT business out of Tokyo. They have a lot of clients in the U.S. Check them out. Info at s/is.co.jp. But you can go to CaliendoSportsInternational.com. Go to the podcast. You'll see them there and get a hold of them. If you're looking for IT, this is big companies, small companies. Check them out. They do a fantastic job. And also just want to let you know that, ISG Baseball for Good, the both organizations, nonprofit organizations that I help, we are doing a special camp for 45 coaches and players, 15 players, softball, baseball from Ukraine to Poland. We're going to bus them to Poland. We're funding the whole program. Thank you to our sponsors, and thank you to Van Schley, a very special person who is helping a lot of people, helps both Baseball for Good. He's a co-founder, and he's also a director of ISG Baseball. We're going to take them to Little League headquarters in Kutno, Poland. They're going to be there a week. I get the pleasure of going there, helping them out as best I can. Let's have some fun with those kids, get them away from what's going on in Ukraine. It is terrible. So I think it'll be a great time for them. We look forward to that. It's going to be May 7th to the 13th. So that's going to be a great program. ISG Baseball for Good doing some great things. And we've been in Ukraine 9 years. We've also been helping during the war with a lot of other things. And don't forget, go to CaliendoSportsInternational.com. Check out the programs we have. We have a senior league baseball team going to Italy in September. If you're a senior league player, 40, 50, 60 years old, join us, man. We're going to tour all of Italy, play games, fantasy camp type. And Reggie Smith, Mike Marshall, legendary Dodgers will be on the coaching staff. So join us. All right. Speaking about Reggie Smith, you know Reggie, Team USA guy, also great legend, Dodger coach, player. We've got another great Team USA guys, and he's been on a show before. Team USA coach for the World Baseball Classic. Talk about one of the greatest honors, not only to represent your country, but now do it for the Team USA in the World Baseball Classic 2023. Carlos Munoz, what a fantastic guy. Carlos, he's been in Major League Baseball before. 2017 World Series bullpen coach, MLB Scouting School. He's a Sabermetrics guy. He presents on that. BP catcher for the 2017 World Series champs. 5 years pitching, throwing BP with the Astros, but he's done a lot more. We're going to talk about it. He had a chance possibly to represent Venezuela, but he went with USA. I understand that probably was not an easy decision, but either one would have been great because two great teams. Let me welcome our good friend to the show. And what a class act. Great stuff, by the way, on Twitter, Carlos96 Munoz, and he's all over social media with some great stuff. Check him out. Carlos, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you for having me again, Pete. A pleasure.
No, it's a pleasure, man. You are let me tell you, you are a class act. Just first class person. And I really enjoy our time together when we talk on the show. I wish we get a chance to go somewhere. Hopefully one day, ISG Baseball, go as one of the coaches. That's what I want to. That's one of my goals, to take you overseas and do a coaching clinic over a weekend. But I know you've got a young baby, very young, right? And that you got to be proud about that. And it's keeping you home right now. But you do a lot of stuff in baseball too.
Yeah, he's requesting a lot of time. As soon as he sees me in the morning, it's daddy here, daddy there, and it's my baby boy. I have a 13 years old lady, so it's a big gap between Carla, who's 13, and Carter, he's 14 months old. So it's a blessing. People, oh my God, that's a big gap. It's a blessing. I love them.
Hey, no matter what, kids are a blessing. And then you also got an in-house babysitter too. Once in a while, you and your wife got to go out, right?
Yeah, she
So
go out, and then sometimes my mom comes over, and then she helps around, and my sisters, and sometimes we fly her mom from overseas for 5 6 months. That's a great help. And well, I'll do summer stuff out of town. So like I said, it's a big blessing that keeps the family a little bit more tighter, and I'm loving this time.
awesome. Hey, check us out, folks, on Facebook. We are live with Carlos Munoz. I see us there. And if you got any comments, we're going to start getting some people. We already have people on. Fantastic. I know we don't do the show regularly at a certain time. I hope to reach that goal one day. That way we can have people on all the time. Facebook. If you got a question for Carlos, we're going to talk about, first of all, we're going to talk, World Baseball Classic, of course. And then we're going to jump a little bit into some development stuff. I want to ask Carlos some things about the game. But Carlos, look, first of all, let's just go right to the heart of the matter. And that is the great honor of representing our country in the World Baseball Classic. How did that come about? And then you had to make the decision between, I guess, Venezuela possibly, and also US.
Well, I've been doing MLB players development camps every summer for the last 4 years in Vero Beach. And one of the big guys is Tony Riggins. He's the #1 guy for those camps. And then Dale Matthews. As soon as I found out that Tony was going to be the GM, we talked about, Team USA and all that. And then he asked me if I still can catch it. I'm like, yeah, I can do it. I can do it. And the same conversation, not in the same conversation, this guy was probably like 10 feet from us. He was one of the directors from Team Venezuela in the same camp. And
Wow.
then he told me, hey, I see you throw BP and all these, good communicator and all that. I'm going to talk to the guys in Team Venezuela so I can bring you over. I'm like, oh my God, okay. I'm between these two countries now. I'm from Venezuela. I've been living in this country. Yeah, I've been living in this country for 30 years, and I've been U.S. citizen since 2010. So I was like, okay, I would love to represent Venezuela, but at the same time, I want to do Team USA too. And that conversation was like at the end of summer. By October 26th, I remember I got a call from Tony, and then he asked me, are you ready? I'm like, ready for what? I'm thinking another player development camp, because every time he calls, he wants me there 4 days later, like right now. I'm like, yeah, what you got? WBC for you. I'm like, what? Yeah, Team USA. We talk about it. I'm like, come on, seriously? Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it. I mean, thank you. And then I've been praying, I've been thinking about it, and this opportunity, let's do it. And that's how.
And you know what? And that's something, I remember Michael Jordan saying that one of the greatest experiences of his life and representing his country. I mean, the greatest player, and not only basketball, possibly in all the sports, that said there was no way he was going to turn that down. You got the honor of two countries that coming after you, to come to be with the team. Tell us, after that decision, kind of take us behind the scenes. Now all of a sudden you have to, now you're traveling. You guys got kind of like a spring training practices, right, with the team. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, the first meeting was in March 6th, when everybody came over. Like, I'm talking about players. I mean, March 5th, staff and all that. I mean, I met everybody. March 6th, we got the opportunity to meet the entire, the players, the roster down in San Francisco Giants spring training facility in Papago Park in Arizona. I mean, I disappeared from the clubhouse doing some stuff, and then when I came back, I see Mike Trout, I see Mookie Betts in one corner, and the other corner you see Will Smith, and then the other corner right there you see Real Muto. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? And then that's when you put in play and practice your breath, your because you start like getting ready mentally and physically, and then you're like, okay, you need to start breathing now. Okay, relax. This is happening. And that's how, I mean, the group right there and that day from that afternoon, I mean, everybody got so close. And then after we played Team Japan and then we lost, everything's like, okay, now it's over. And it's hard because the team, the guys, we were all too close, the nucleus, the friendship, and then all of a sudden it's over. It's nostalgic. I mean, like 2 days ago, I was lifting weights in my garage, and then I told my wife, hey, you know what? I don't feel good. I feel like I need something. I think it's all about the guys, the team. I need the team right now. But, you know, it's reality. Probably in the future, I'll see one of the guys, and, you know, we'll probably meet one of the guys or be part of an MLB team with 1 or 2 or 3 guys of that team, and we can talk about what happened last week and the WBC.
Yeah, you know what? It's interesting because here you are. I mean, you've been in a World Series. You were at the Houston Astros. You threw BP 5 years. You won a World Series. You've been around big players. But here you are now with like an all-star team, you know, and even though you've been around everybody, I would assume still there's some nerves, right? I mean, even though you know how to handle it, you got to be a little bit nervous no matter what, just being in that atmosphere for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, you feel nervous because you don't want to mess up around those guys, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, you got group 3, you throw into my first group, and my group was Pete Alonso, Tim Anderson, Cedric Mullins, and Bobby Witt Jr., and
Wow.
Kyle Higashioka. Those 5 guys.
Wow.
You know, and then
You know-
you have to like,
Go ahead.
and then, you know, like, okay, I've done this before. You're thinking, hey, just relax, just throw the ball down the middle. You don't have to do too much. I mean, just keep it simple and you go from there, you know?
You know, on a small scale, I remember being at independent ball my first year, throwing batting practice. You know, it's been a long time since I was doing it, and I always had somebody else throw BP. And you know, we have some former major league players, not huge names, but good names. You know, and man, the pressure for me was a lot because I wasn't used to it. But at the same time, there are certain players that want, at least in those days, we're going back a while, wanted pitches in certain locations. You know, I was worried, you know, that if I don't get them in those locations, my problem was the ball moved too much, right? I couldn't keep it straight all the time. You throw batting practice at the major league level, and I, you know, and I don't want you to name names or anything, but are there certain guys that are a little harder to throw to than others?
Yeah, because I mean, you throw batting practice, you beep it's around what, between 55 and 60 miles per hour. And then
Yeah.
you throw a 4-seam down you try to throw a 4-seam down the middle and then cut this much. And then by cutting that much, after that, you see body language from the batter. And
Right.
I'm thinking, dude, how do you do then when they throw your cutter on 95, 96, you know? And
Yes,
they
I
yell
was
at you,
thinking the same thing.
put the cutter down. I'm like, I'm not throwing cutters. And instead of
Right.
me, I just keep it to myself. I don't want to show him or whatever. I'm like, I'm not throwing cutters. Come on, dude. So either way, how do you do if you face these guys throwing 96, 97 cutters at you, you know?
Right. Yeah, I had the same situation many times. You know, and I didn't mean to, you know, my ball just moved and I tried to throw a 4-seamer, you know, and sometimes it would move and, you know, and then body, like you said, body language, I'd see it and boy, I'll go, oh no, you know, now, you know, the good hitters, in my opinion, they could hit anything, but you know, that's just me. The other part of all this now, here you are at the major league stadiums or prior to a game, there's a little bit more pressure because you only have so many minutes prior to a game in your group. Is there more pressure before the game throwing batting practice?
I mean, the pressure you're gonna put yourself, that pressure on you. I mean, I got to the point where I was throwing batting practice at one point, and then if I look somebody like, oh my God, let's say that's Aaron Judge in my group, and then boom, that's pressure right there. No, if you see Aaron Judge right there, hey, okay, I'm just gonna throw the ball down the middle. Don't put pressure. And then you look on this side, and then you see, I don't know, Big Papi coming, or Alex Rodriguez to see you throwing batting practice or something. Oh, Pedro Martinez, and you're like, oh my God, okay, I'm done. Okay, whatever. No, you don't take it that way. You just take it like, okay, It's good. You take it the positive way. Like, okay, these guys are here. They want to see my VIP or my big show, whatever, MLB BP, whatever. But it's up to you if you want to take it the negative way or the good way, the right way, the positive way.
Yeah, great point. Being positive, being confident, agree with you. Are there guys, Carlos, that will they ask you to throw to certain locations because they need to work on something, or is there some kind of game plan some of the players have in batting practice that they work with you on because they want the ball in a certain location?
No, not really. I mean, in my group, I had Pete Alonso. I mean, the pitches that I was throwing to Pete, he was not swinging, like kind of like high chest. But those pitches, Cedric Mullins and Bobby Witt Jr., they were swinging at those pitches. So you gotta be able to adjust. And then, okay, this guy's not swinging this high pitch. Okay, I'm just gonna make the adjustment and pretty much throw a little bit lower to Pete. So as soon as I threw like 2 or 3 back to back down the middle, I mean, the guy hit the ball like 500 feet, and then I turned my way. Okay, I gotta enjoy these because I mean, when's gonna be the next time I'm gonna throw batting practice to this guy? So I mean, just try to throw the ball down the middle, just stay behind the ball, spin it, and let it go. Now, if they tell you, okay, last round, can you come in, or can you go a little bit outside? Okay, I'll try to do my adjustment.
What's a typical routine for a major league person in batting practice? You got 3 rounds maybe of so many minutes, but what's the routine? What are they trying to accomplish?
Well, some of these guys are trying to stay, inside of the ball, hit the ball to the other side of the field. It consists around 15, 18 minutes, the whole group. It depends whatever they want to work on. Some guys, they want to pull. Some guys, they want to stay down the middle. Some guys, they want to stay down the middle like they were doing like 20 minutes, 30 minutes inside the cage, off the tee. Now, let's put in play now. It depends on the guys. Some guys, they're like just to relax, just to get loose for the game.
All right, now I want to talk about a little bit about the team. Obviously, everybody knows fantastic game at the end, but I want to talk about the team together. It sounded, DeRosa, I watch him on Major League MLB Network all the time. Love the guy. Of course, he's Italian, so that adds a little bit more to me, right? Being Italian. But I watch him. I just like the way he does things on MLB Network. And, I would assume, it's his first time managing, to talk about pressure, but he seemed to handle it really well. And we're not talking about a major league game, a major league season, because you have time to adjust. You got game plans. I've been involved with the World Baseball Classic and all the World Cups and all that for 24 years. So I'm familiar with the tournaments and the system. It's a lot different than Major League Baseball because you have pitch restrictions. You've got, major league teams giving you restrictions on how many pitches, guys can throw. I mean, there's a lot of things you got to really navigate through. And it just seems like the coaching staff did a really good job in handling all that. Because normally you can see when somebody's not doing well on television, if you know the system, right? If you're a normal fan and you're not familiar with the system, that's different. But I didn't see many issues out there. It looked pretty good, man. Everybody seemed together.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Dero, it's a smart baseball guy. I mean, first time I met him, he introduced himself and he let me do my job. He let everybody do their job. Also, he was surrounded by good baseball people, Brian McCann, Michael Young, Jerry Manuel, Ken Griffey Jr., a guy named Ken Griffey Jr., and Andy Pettit. For me, I took these games like Game 7 of the World Series. It's not like 162 games. We're going to go and play these 4-game series. We're going to split and we'll be fine. No, I mean, for me, it was a Game 7. You got to go pitch by pitch, swing by swing. And if you have to call to the bullpen the first inning, you got to do it. You must do it, and then we have good pitching staff in the bullpen, good guys throwing 95 plus, good breaking ball stuff. And I mean, did we need more pitching? Yeah, I think we need more pitching. But I mean, I'm fine with what we had in this WBC.
You know what? And I'm going to just give my opinion real quick here because it's something that I've always thought about. And I love Japanese baseball. I love American baseball. I love baseball all over the world. It's such a great honor just to be involved, going all over the world and doing things. But, to me, it's kind of balanced. The Team USA had a really, really strong team, whether it be the lineup, the defense, the pitching. Okay, I get it. Some people are saying, well, there's, Scherzer and this guy and that guy, could have had, 4 or 5 good starters. Well, that's not the case all the time. I mean, it's not going to happen. You have pretty good pitchers. But also there's a balance. And here's how I look at it. It's just me. And I just want to give my opinion to the audience out there. We have 26 million amateur players in the US. So we got a big pool of players that all of a sudden go to the big leagues. We got a great pool. That's the biggest amount of amateur players in the world. Nobody else even comes close. Japan's lucky to have a million. Venezuela, even the same thing. Nobody comes close to the US. So I just see it as a balance, right? Okay, you don't have the best pitchers, but we still have a strong team. Japan, yes, has the best players out there, but that's why it was balanced, and it was a great, great team. Either team could have won anytime, right? I mean, so to me, I just think it was fantastic. I think things went great. I mean, obviously, it would have been great if USA won. Japan just goes to show that they're in their season. That helps a little bit. They've got their best pitchers. I get it. What they're showing more, Japan, is a lot more power than they've had in the past, right? Little by little, you're starting to see more power in Japan. I think that proved to be true in the final game. But just, like your thought of all the teams you faced, what was the overall thought? What did you think about the overall competition?
I mean, facing before we start, like the day before when I found out we were facing, we're gonna play it at Japan. I mean, I knew what I was supposed to, like a week ago or two, Shohei said that he was not the only good player in that team, and people were like, "Seriously? Come on, Shohei!"
Right.
I'm like, he said, "You'll see," and this
He's
is
right.
what I noticed on Team Japan, especially the pitching staff. They relied a lot on splitters, splitters. That's what they splitters. And they've been throwing splitters since, I don't know, since their amateur career. If you think about, if you remember Tanaka,
Yeah, of
splitter
course.
guy right there. And then I'm thinking, okay, you have this minor leaguer, any MLB affiliate, and they don't want him to throw splitters, After that game, I'm thinking, okay, should I start teaching my guys to throw the splitter? Because that's a sick pitch to hit.
Sure.
That thing looked like a fastball, and then 87, 88 miles per hour split is hard to hit, And then also Mexico, they rely a lot on speed and breaking ball. They throw hard. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the bullpen, I don't know where they got those guys, because I was watching the Arco League, and the Arco League, they only had like 2 guys. I saw 2 guys throwing 94 miles per hour. The other guys that were throwing 87, 88, native Mexican pitchers, 87, 88, 89. And now they have these guys in the bullpen throwing 95 plus, 96 plus, with good changeup, good breaking ball, good sliders. Venezuela too. Guys throwing hard, and then also some good breaking stuff. But these guys, the Japanese, I mean, splitters. I mean, I'm like, oh my God, that thing they throw that thing like below knee high, and that thing goes all the way down. But you got to swing it. If you don't swing, that's a strike. But
Yeah, it's amazing. You watch on television because you got the rookie throwing 100, 102. And all of a sudden you got the splitter coming. I can't imagine what it's like to be able to hit off of that speed. And now because of technology, because of development, you're seeing all over the world. I mean, I go to Czech Republic is a great example. There's a lot of young Czech Republic players throwing 94, 95 now. You'd be surprised. They didn't get yet to the senior team. that they may have seen at the Classic. But they have qualified, so you've got a lot of countries really starting to develop the arms, the velocity aspect of it. How about, I think this is interesting, with D-Row, and you mentioned Jerry Manuel, another guy, they kind of seem like guys, Manuel's got a lot of experience. I always saw him next to D-Row. I thought that was interesting, and I think that was important. They have a calm atmosphere because here you go, you lose to Mexico, right? That could not have been an easy loss, but all of a sudden you just regroup, boom, come right back. Talk about that a little bit, how that kind of happened. What happened after the Mexico loss? Were there talks, or these guys are just professionals? They get it and they just go on to the next game.
Well, at the end of the game in the clubhouse, I could feel like it was some tension, long faces, a lot of frustration. I didn't take a shower. I just dressed myself and then I head to my hotel, because of, and it was good. I'm not taking that as a negative. I'm like, okay, when I feel that type of, I don't know, that feeling any place, I'm like, I don't feel good. So I decided just to leave. I can be here. It could be visiting you, visiting some friends. I don't like it. So I just left. I dressed, ate something, and then I head back to my hotel with my family. The next day, we were like waiting at this room because I think Mexico, there was a game going on in the field. So we have to, the teams that are supposed to play at 7:00, they have to wait at these rooms. So I'm waiting with Dino Evo, the third base coach for the Dodgers. He was our third base coach. And then we see Mike Trout coming, walking our way. He's like, "How you doing, guys? There you go. Let's go. And then he got in the room. And then Dino goes, "Dude, every time I see Mikey with that attitude, oh my God, you'll see tonight. Every time I see him, like, you'll see. Man, that night, that evening, Michael hit a bomb between a center field, left field gap, hit a bomb. Like, oh my God, Dino was right. And then I think we won that game. I forgot which game. I think it was Canada. Yeah, I think it was Canada right there. Yeah. And everything changed. After that game, everything changed. And then we go like, okay, we got this right here, And the next time I feel that was the game before the game versus Team Venezuela. I feel like before the game, I feel like, okay, a little bit of, like tension, like, okay, we got to do this. They have a good team. And when we started scoring, then after Trey Turner hit that grand slam, I'm like, okay, I think we have him right here. I feel a little bit of, I feel happy because I listened to my national, the national anthem, the Venezuela national anthem.
Yeah.
But after that, I'm like, okay, let's go. It's in the past. Let's go now. It's between them and us. Let's do this. So it was fun.
Yeah, you could imagine that first time out, going on the line, listening to the national anthems, the goosebumps you get.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're competing against Venezuela. Wow, another powerhouse. What a lineup. I mean, that was a great game. And I mean, you're talking about two powerhouses in there. And you mentioned Trout. As a fan, we're watching Trout, and, you could just tell this guy's having so much fun. And he talked about it at the end, with the media, about being the greatest experience of his lifetime. This was unbelievable. But when you do see a guy of his level, his character, having that fun, that kind of resonates with the rest of the team, right? It's kind of being that leader within that leader. I mean, you could say quiet leader, but at the same time, being vocal about it.
Yeah, he was the leader. I mean, him and, like Nolan Arenado and Mookie and Goldsmith. I mean, they got to the point they got so close, talking about hitting with Ken Griffey in the cage and all that. Looking at that picture right there, I mean, I'm like, man, I think we're gonna win it all here. I mean, the guys are listening, the guys are working. I mean, I was with this team with the Astros for 9 years, but these 2 weeks, I never seen these guys working. I mean, so close, and like pregame stuff, working so close, like advising to each other. I'm like, man, this is the team. I mean, I got to the point I told Andy Pettit, hey, Andy, if they're going to have this expansion team in Nashville, this is the coaching staff.
Yeah.
All right, this is the coaching staff. Now about the players, I mean, we can do, I mean, I don't know if they can do something about the players. We can take the whole roster to, but this is the staff. He goes, yeah, why not, you know? But I mean, it was a time that even my daughter, my family, they're going to remember forever.
Absolutely. You know, and the other thing is you mentioned Tony Regan, and you know, the GM, you know, putting a team together. I thought one of the critical comments in all of it that I heard from when, you know, the organization put the team together, that was when they made the call. I think one thing they wanted to hear right away was, I want to do it. I'm ready. I'm excited. Or getting a call from a major league player, one of the guys, and saying, I want to be part of this. Those are the type of guys you want, because if you got to convince somebody to do this, their heart is not in it. And when you have a bunch of guys who want to do it, you know, Harper wanted to do it. Unfortunately, he got hurt. You know, then I think you've got a better ball club. And that was the way Team USA at one time with basketball did it, right? I mean, Colangelo put that team together, the dream team. But one of his stipulations was, you're going to be there 3 years. And I want to know that you really want to do this. If not, I'll find somebody else, because as you know, constructing a team is not always about the best players. It's about the cohesiveness also.
Yeah, I mean, and also you can tell Mike Trout, I think he mentioned on his social media account that he's ready for 2026, you know, and also Aaron Judge, he mentioned to close friends that he wants to be part of this too, you know, and I really recommend it. I mean, it's October baseball during spring training, and a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure from fans, from the stands, from social media, even from family. You know, when you have not family, I will say friends. When you have friends that they're asking you for a Mike Trout sign yours, I'm like, dude, that's not gonna happen. You know, but anyways, I mean, I love the time. I love the coaching staff, trainers, everything was top notch. Everything was top notch. And I really, if we have some major leaguers right now watching, I mean, do it for the USA or do it for another country, you're going to have fun.
You know, I know, again, watching television, watching all the sports shows, and one of the things, you know, people brought up was about injuries and all that. You know, Major League Baseball does a great job at controlling the pitchers, the pitch counts, watching the guys. You know, also, you know, one of the, obviously, it is preparing prior to that, because now you're going right into competition, and players know this, so they prepare early. And the players, and then one thing I think is, look, this is a great experience. And whether you do the World Baseball Classic or whether you're in spring training and exhibition games, you can get hurt. You can get hurt walking down your steps in your condo. You can get hurt anywhere. So, you know, there's no reason really to talk about that aspect of it, because injuries can happen any way, anytime, anywhere. But I just wanted to mention that I think, you know, MLB does a great job with the pitchers and controlling all that, the pitch counts. Obviously, you've got to do that in your role as a bullpen catcher. You got the bullpen coach, right? Talk about the bullpen a little bit, how that's controlled, because you guys got to watch pitches there too.
Yeah, I mean, it happens with our, I think, 8th and 9. I mean, our closer, I mean, was Ryan Presley. And then our guy in the 8th was Devin Williams. I mean, you get to Arizona with these. Hey, you know what? I only can do this and this and that. And then they both pitch today, and then tomorrow they tell you, I don't care. Put me in there. I can do this. You know. But you know, you told us that no, don't worry about it. Put me in there. I can do this. You know. And that was something like, there you go. Because you get to the point like, oh man, this guy pitched today. How about tomorrow? We got this team. Okay. And the next day they're like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. Zero, I'm fine. Are you sure? Yes. Don't worry about, I'm fine. You know, and then you're like, there you go. You got a little more excited about that after you hear that.
Cool. That's cool. Hey, do us some favors, Carlos. Take us inside the some coaching meetings. You don't have to get specifics or names or anything like that. Just inside some of your coaching meetings, whether they be after games or prior, the day before that you guys coaches get together. Some of the discussions that were going on that might be interesting in preparing for the next day.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I was not part of any meeting, but I could see
Okay.
the group because I was working with the pitchers and doing stuff pre-practice, pre-BP, and then I had to go inside of the meeting a couple times, and then it was everybody. When I say everybody, it's the coaching staff with the two number guys, the two analytics guy, Pat O'Shea from the Dodgers and Kevin Roque from the Pirates. I mean, and also we had an advanced scout. I think his name is Ernie Young. They were like, yeah,
I
all
know
these
Ernie.
guys, yeah, they were like holding court in this table, going after every single batter, every single pitcher, and when you see that, you're like, man, I mean, these guys, we've been together for like 3 days, and these guys are holding minutes like, like an MLB organization, and they go through every single thing, and what we're gonna do if they bring a lefty, okay, we're gonna go. That's what I noticed going inside to ask some questions, but being part of be part of a meeting, no, I was not there because I was doing more stuff on the field, like catching early pen or throwing a long toss or catching, flat grounds and all that.
Hey, shout out to Ernie Young, great guy, man. Team USA manager in the Pan Am games. He's got a lot of international experience, knows a lot of the international teams. That's why he was the advanced scout. Been with ISG baseball around the world, and want to thank Ernie. Great person, man. The other aspect I love to hear from you. I want to get into a little bit about your role in the bullpen, but before that, you had to take advantage of all these great people out there, baseball people, whether it be coaches, players. Once in a while, you had to pick some guys' brains on some things. Talk about maybe a couple things you might have learned while you were, there the 2 weeks. Maybe you were interested in hitting, or you were interested in something about pitching, or something you picked up from a pitcher, or anything that can help some coaches out there that you learned.
Well, I'm going to start with the catchers. Excuse me. I'm going to start with the catchers. I asked Realmuto what was his routine, and he said, well, I get up there 20 minutes before the game. I do some work, like front toss work and footwork. I don't play catch with the pitcher. And then right away, I raise my hand. I'll do it. Don't worry about it. And then that's Realmuto. Same thing with Will Smith. I mean, they both have pretty much similar pre-game work. Pitchers wise, I noticed two guys. I won't say the names, but I noticed two guys when the game was tied, like very, like under pressure situation. They were inside of the restroom. They probably didn't want to feel the pressure, and then feel fresh when they start warming up and when they get up there. And then I didn't take it like, oh man, these guys are scared or something. I've seen it before with the Astros, so I'm like more pitchers doing that. Like they try to go away from the pressure, from the yelling, from the noise. And then when it's time to warm up, okay, I'm ready. I'm brand new. Let's go. I haven't heard anything. I'm ready. My brain,
that.
And also I noticed, and I will name this guy, Cal Tucker. Cal Tucker, I mean, I know now why they call him Teddy. That swing, Teddy from Teddy Williams, that swing and the way he handled himself. I mean, he's sitting in his locker and he's like, everybody's like, showing this urgency mode, like, okay, we got to do this. And then he's like, and then he goes out there and he goes like, I don't know, 2 for 4, And I'm like, man, I need to pick his brain. But I mean, that was my plan. Okay, I need to sit down with that guy and ask him that question. What is your mental? But I didn't have that chance. I mean, always he was doing something. I was doing something before the game. Everything, crazy, doing stuff here, but I never had the opportunity to sit down with him and talk about that because he looks so like laid back, so relaxed, and I mean, hopefully in the future, I mean, he's here in town. Hopefully in the future, I get in touch with him and I'll ask him about all that preparation.
Well, I got to tell you, Tucker, he's one of my favorite players. I think he's so underrated. He's just getting better and better. Clutch. Just, I tell you what, he is going to be a superstar very soon. He's already a great star, but he's going to be a superstar very soon here. I agree with you, man. I love that guy. Hey, your bullpen, your starters. Did you catch the starters?
Well,
No,
I caught Lance Lynn. Like like Lance Lynn, let's say he threw yesterday on the game. He threw like 3-4 innings. And then 2 days later, he needs to throw a bullpen. And then he doesn't want to throw it before the game. He wants to throw it after the game. So everybody's celebrating. We won, whatever. We beat Canada, we beat Colombia. And then, hey, wait, Lance is coming to throw his pen. Man. Or Adam Renwright is coming to throw his pen. Or Adam Ottavino, hey, he hasn't thrown in 2 days. Hey, dude, can I throw after the game? Sure. Because they have their own routine. Hey, today I need to throw. But I don't want to throw it before the game. I want to throw it after. That's fine. I'll be here.
What does some of those routines look like? With Wainwright or anybody else? Like, what were they doing? Was there a goal they had in mind, or were they just kind of getting their arms loose?
Yeah, I mean, just hitting the corners, couple sinkers here inside, 2 sinkers outside. The thing about Renwright, I asked him. This is my code between me and the starters, the pitchers. I go, when they make eye contact with me before the game around 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, I go, at what time you gonna go to the bullpen? And they go, 6:40. Got you. So I'll be there at 6:35 or 6:30. Because they have their own routine, they're thinking, they listen to music. I don't know what they're doing, but they look locked in. I don't want to get there, hey, dude, whatever. No. They make eye contact with me, and then I go, at what time you go to the bullpen? I ran right. He said 6:45. I'm like, oh my God, this guy is a 707. He's not gonna play a lot of, You know what he did? He went straight to the bullpen, get on the mound and threw. Not even long toss. He goes straight to the mound. I'm like, okay. And then this guy, Dave Righetti, he goes, dude, that's the old Braves. That's the old Braves school right there.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, that's what the Atlanta Braves back in the 90s, whatever, they used to do. Go straight to the mound and throw.
So you caught him prior to the game?
No, I was supposed to play long toss with him, and then Real Muro will go and play catch with him. I caught one of his bullpens. I think it was after we beat Colombia. He went to the bullpen and threw like 15, 18 pitches.
Gotcha. What about during the game? Let's talk about a little bit during the game, what your role is, what you're doing during the game.
Well, during the game, I'm sitting next to the bullpen coach. Also, I'm warming up I'm playing catch with the outfielders. In this case, the corners outfielders, either Mookie or Kyle Tucker. And who else was in the corner? Schwarber.
Getting a little bit of getting a little field time, maybe a little camera action.
Yeah, throwing playing catch right there. And then when I feel like our starter is getting in trouble, I suit up completely. My chest protector. Okay, I'm getting ready just in case they call from the dugout. Get this guy loose. I want to be ready. I don't want to tell the guy, hey, hold on. No, I just want to be ready and behind the home plate. That's my role right there. And then do as fast as I can.
And then what about you got relief pitchers? Everybody's different, right? They got different routines. Maybe just kind of mention a couple routines, how guys get ready
Well,
come in relief? And what's the game plan? I know you got the pitching coach there and everything.
yeah, the one that really caught my attention was Devin Williams' routine, because he would get to the bullpen around the 5th or 6th, and then he goes straight to the ground and do some yoga stretch, yoga, all the way to the 8th. When the 8th comes, he gets up, stretch, gets his glove, and he's ready, like right on time.
Wow.
So for 3 innings, he's stretching, doing all these weird yoga stretches on the ground. And I mean, without stopping, not even restroom break, no water, stretching. When the 8th comes, he gets up, get his glove, boom, give me the ball, I'm ready to throw. That's
Wow,
Devin Williams from the Brewers.
Wow, that's incredible. The other thing I got to ask you, isn't it Wainwright's got the 12-6 curveball?
That's a guy, yeah.
I mean, I watched that on television. It was like, wow, how do you hit that? I mean, it just drops. When he has that pitch, he's unhittable.
Yeah, I mean, he got a good changeup, still got a good changeup, same curveball, and good sinkers too. I mean, I love catching that guy. Like inside, I would just stay right there and right there in my glove. That's what you call, man, this guy's been around for 15 plus years in the big leagues, and still have one more. Like he said, I still got one more. I still got one more. Okay.
Carlos, which game was the most exciting for you when it comes to, I've been all over the world, so I've seen all the different fans out there, but one game where the crowd, you just said, man, this is amazing.
I thought it was Mexico, because you could hear the Mexico chants, like you have like 100 people in front of you, and then you were like getting so, it was so loud. But when we went to Miami and then we faced Venezuela, it was like we were playing in Venezuela. The whole stage was set up for Venezuela. The music from Venezuela, celebrities from Venezuela on the big screen, and I feel like, man, you know what? This is not fair. How about this is American soil? Why they still? I mean, something that I really called my attention was the mindset for our players. Even though I mean, we could hear more Venezuelan chants than USA. I mean, these guys, I mean, our guys, Team USA guys, I mean, we could come up and win that game.
With, and everybody knows, obviously, the U.S. is a melting pot. We have foreign people from all over the world. So, it's a big difference when you're from Venezuela, it's all Venezuelan, fans. Or you're from Dominican, or even Japan. You go to Tokyo Dome, that place goes unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. All the games, was there a game where there was a little bit more loud I guess fan base from the US, or was it normally like you're playing on the road?
I think the first game, Great Britain, and the game versus Canada, I noticed, I feel more like, and the game versus Cuba, I mean, I feel more like, and I'm sorry and I feel bad for this comment, but I feel like the Cuban fans went over there just to argue about politics and then get this guy out of the field, get this guy out of the ballpark, like politics, and then what's going on in Cuba. And I'm like, next day in social media, I saw this video. One guy on the bullpen, the Cuba bullpen, threw a baseball to a Cuban fan. Because the Cuban fan was like pointing at him. I don't know what he was yelling at to this guy, and then the guy threw a baseball to him. I'm like, man, I mean, this is not fair. I mean, why this is happening? I mean, just come enjoy the game, and that's the only time I feel like, man, I feel sorry for those guys.
Yeah, when in the Cuban team, speaking about that, and I get it, because we needed to keep politics outside the game and enjoy the game. The Cuban team, unfortunately, didn't get also all their players there. I know they had a few major league players, but they obviously could have had a much better and stronger club, and that showed even in the game you guys played them against. Hey, what was the most surprising thing for you at the World Baseball Classic? What kind of caught you off guard and you said, wow, I just didn't expect it? Was there any, what, and anything, could be fans, could be players, whatever it may be, anything that kind of caught you off guard?
I would say players. There was no egos in that clubhouse.
Wow.
No egos at all. If you sit down and you go as salary, salary wise,
Yeah, it's
the
billions.
billions. And then there was no egos in that clubhouse at all. Everybody was, high-fiving and I was expecting ego. And then, why you got this guy throwing batting practice? Why we don't have the roof open? Why, nothing like that. It was so nice. I feel so like, I was not expecting this. I feel like I can work around this clubhouse, doing my stuff, doing my professional job, acting like a pro and all that. And I'm not gonna get a back loop from anybody. Well, in other teams, you have to walk with your head down and okay, go and sit down. Don't say anything. If they don't ask you anything. But this team, there's no ego. There was no ego inside of that clubhouse.
And I could see that because, when you've got that many, superstars, you think you're going to have a lot of egos, but at the same time, they kind of, balance themselves, right? Because they're all at that level. But the important thing, I think, what you mentioned, and I really like to hear that part, and that is, they treated everybody the same, no matter what level you came from, right? It didn't matter what level or what position, they treated everybody the same. And I know it's a big coaching staff, not just the coaching staff, but you got scouts, you've got, support staff, you got trainers, you got athletic people, you got medical doctors, you got all that. It's a whole, it's a whole team. And when you're treating everybody equal, that makes it special.
Exactly. So you don't have complaints after the game, like, hey, why these guys doing this? Why we having this for dinner? Why? Nothing.
That's
everything
awesome.
Everything like I mentioned before, everything was top notch, even for families, for family on the stands, for the transportation for the family to the ballpark and back to the hotel. Everything was like, quality. Everything was perfect.
Yeah, imagine being the, I guess you call him like the traveling secretary, the person who's got to organize all that, man. Talk about pressure, right? You got all these top stars. You got to make sure hotel rooms handle families. There's a lot of things behind the scenes that go on that people don't realize. And that's why I'm glad we're talking about it a little bit to let our audience know what goes on behind the scenes. And we're almost at the end here. You've been great. I know you got a lot going on. Don't want to keep you too long, but how about one of the toughest pitchers you've seen at the event that you kind of didn't expect?
What was the toughest pitcher?
Yeah, what that you guys maybe faced that you personally said, wow, I like this guy, man. I've never seen him or didn't expect that. Was there anybody out there like that?
The Japanese pitching staff, like they're closer. The guy who closed their game.
Yes.
Guy throwing 102 to my Trout.
Yeah. And Ohtani was right about that, right? They were a lot better players.
It could be 103. It could be 102.7,
Yeah.
And then he comes and throws a slider to our captain. I'm like, come on, dude, if I throw 103, 102, throw another one. But why are you that's not fair, dude, But they want to secure their championship, and I understand, but that pitching style was like unbelievable. A lot of splitters, breaking balls below the knee,
And finally, I know everybody on television talked about this, and I understand why the Ohtani Trout, final, at bat, it kind of was like a Cinderella game where everybody wanted to see that, and it happened, right? You got Ohtani against Trout. But I think sometimes people don't understand that, pitchers have a huge advantage, and they shouldn't get on Trout too much because it's always much easier to get a hitter out than it is for a hitter to get a hit against a certain pitcher, especially somebody like Ohtani. And like you said, here he is throwing, there's guys throwing 100, 101, 102, and then he comes with that pitch that was just 3-2 was incredible. It was just again, overall, just great game. And just finish it up with just your whole experience about this. Anything we might have missed that you wanted to mention?
Well, Pete, the next day after I came back from Miami, I put on my uniform back on again, and I dressed in my blue and gray pants, and I went to my 14U practice.
I saw that.
And then I posted on all my social media outlets. And then the reason I wanted to do that is because and it was a single message. It was a line. I told them, guys, I'm here because if I can do it at 45, you can do it right now, anytime. Dream big, keep working hard, and keep dreaming, you know? And they were like, some moms, like 2 days later, they were like, oh my God, watching that video, he made me cry. I mean, that was the message right there, you know?
Great.
Like one day I was sitting in my couch like 2 years ago, and then this picture of me with my hand in my chest singing the US national anthem came to my head. I'm like, what? Am I gonna do that? Because I mean, it was like a little glimpse in my head. I'm like, well, why not? Why not? I mean, that wasn't back in my head for a long time, and now it came true. That dream came through. So I'm like, oh my God. I mean, if you dream, and then if you're responsible, you work hard, and I mean, anything can happen in your life. You can achieve anything.
And that's a great message. And I got to tip my cap to everybody with the organization. You know, obviously Tony Regan again. You know, being a general manager, I can see what he had to do, and I'll tell you why. Because for many years I had to pick a lot of young national teams, and one of the most important things I learned, which is not easy because you've got personalities, people from different parts of the country also, and that is picking your coaching staff. That is so important. Whether it's your pitching coach, your manager, your other coaches, base coaches, your bullpen coach, your bullpen catcher coach, all those are important. And they had to see something special in you in order to pick you for that role, because you're not just picking just the picking guys, because one bad apple, not bad, but guys that don't get along could really cause an issue throughout a short tournament like this. And they just did a great job in picking the staff.
Thank you.
All right, Carlos, thank you for being on the show, man. Folks, Carlos Munoz, again, bullpen coach, bullpen catcher and coach with Team USA World Baseball Classic. Fantastic. We love the show. Thank you so much, Carlos, for being on it. Everybody, thank you in the USA and around the world for joining us. Don't forget, go to Carlos's Twitter, Carlos96 Munoz, Munoz. Check it out. He's got some great stuff on there. It's a second time he's been on the show. And remember what I said on social media. There's only one reason I picked somebody to be on the second show, and that's because I'm impressed by their, type of person they are and the knowledge of the game. And that's why I bring them back. And again, it shows that he was one of the coaches with Team USA. Again, thank you, folks in the US, around the world. Don't forget, follow us on Spotify with the show. Follow us all over social media. And don't forget, also, stay healthy, be safe, and God bless you. And we'll see you all on the next show.
Thank you, Pete.